What's up everyone, I'm Dan, and thanks to LOR Entertainment for the review code. I'll be looking at Karate Survivor on the Nintendo Switch. When I first booted up Karate Survivor, I had one clear expectation: a straightforward side-scrolling beat-em-up. The retro visuals, martial arts theme, and the name itself seemed to promise a classic arcade-style brawler where you'd move around the level, punching thugs until the credits rolled. But within minutes, I realised I was in for something very different and much better. What Karate Survivor delivers is not just another nostalgic throwback, but a clever, fast-paced roguelite in the mold of Vampire Survivor, with enough unique twists to make it stand firmly on its own. The game wears its retro inspiration proudly. From the crunchy sound effects to the pixelated visuals, Karate Survivor feels like it could have been ripped straight out of an 80s arcade cabinet. But unlike many retro-style indies, this one doesn't feel cheap or half-baked. The environments are vibrant, full of detail, and cleverly integrated into the gameplay. Better still, the character animations are outstanding. Watching your martial arts master vault from rooftop to rooftop, roll across tables, or pole vault into a gang of thugs feels like stepping into a classic martial arts movie. It's not just functional animation, it's stylish flair that gives every run personality. At its core, Karate Survivor borrows heavily from Vampire Survivor's formula. You control movement only with the D-pad or analog stick, while attacks trigger automatically at set intervals. But unlike Vampire Survivor, where the chaos comes from stacking endless projectiles, Karate Survivor adds a clever system of martial arts moves. As you progress, you collect new moves and can arrange them into a combo grid at the bottom of the screen. The challenge lies in timing and placement of your martial arts grid. Because your moves trigger automatically, you need to be aware of when attacks are going to go off and to position yourself accordingly. Placement matters. You'll need to know when you're about to launch a kick, swing a weapon, or roll into an enemy to maximize damage. Aligning moves of the same color also grants bonuses, further encouraging experimentation. This system creates an engaging layer of strategy that's more than just collect upgrades and survive. Instead, you're crafting a fighting style every run, and it feels satisfying when you land a perfectly timed combo that wipes out a swarm of enemies. The just one more try feeling comes on strong. Runs are short, intense, and always leave you with the thought of that next time you'll survive longer or find an even better combo. One of the most fun parts of Karate Survivor is how it embraces improvised combat. Forget just fists and kicks, you'll be hurling plates, knocking over scaffolding, or even wielding a plastic flamingo as a deadly weapon. It's absurd in the best way, channeling the chaotic creativity of classic action comedies while still feeling tactical. The environment isn't just a backdrop, it's a toolbox for survival. Knowing when to use objects around you becomes just as important as your martial arts skills. There are only 5 levels, but each one feels distinct thanks to the different layouts, hazards, and available items. One run might see you battling on crowded rooftops where movement is limited, while another throws you into a neon-lit market filled with throwable junk. This variety helps stave off repetition, though I do wish enemy types were a bit more diverse. Too often you're fighting the same generic goons, and while the environments mix things up, the sameness of enemies can make encounters blur together. That said, the challenge ensures you won't breeze through. Runs are tough, and reaching the bosses requires surviving for upwards of 15 minutes or more. These boss fights themselves are tense, nail-biting encounters where every mistake can cost you a run. Losing after a long survival stretch stings, but that sting is exactly what pulls you back for another attempt. It's frustrating in the right way, rewarding persistence and mastery. Like most roguelites, Karate Survivor keeps you hooked with steady progression. Experience earned unlocks new permanent techniques, skills, and moves, so each run feels like a step forward even if you fail. There's definitely grind involved, but the core gameplay loop is so fun that it never becomes a chore. Experimenting with new moves and combos keeps things fresh, and the difficulty curve strikes a good balance between punishing and rewarding. It's rare for me to comment on the pricing in a review, but Karate Survivor deserves the mention. I personally think it's priced very fairly. For the amount of content, replayability, and sheer addictive fun on offer, the value is excellent, especially if, like me, you grew up watching these kinds of movies and are a fan of arcade brawlers. It's the kind of game you'll find yourself returning to over and over, getting far more hours out of it than the cost suggests. Karate Survivor for me is a surprise hit, a game that looks like a simple retro brawler but reveals itself to be an addictive, stylish, and clever roguelite. Its martial arts flair, creative use of environments, and combo building mechanics elevate it beyond just another Vampire Survivor clone. Yes, the enemy variety could use more work, and yes, the grind is real, but the sheer fun of each run more than makes up for it. If you've ever wanted to star in your own 80s martial arts action flick while also scratching that roguelite itch, Karate Survivor delivers a knockout punch, and I definitely recommend this one. Karate Survivor is out now on the Nintendo eShop, priced at $5.29 in the UK and $5.99 in the US. Thanks to you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to hit that like button, and until next time.